welcome to Higher Learning Network. I'm your host for this evening, Brittany Burt, and today I have here with me Shalom Klein. Welcome, Shalom Klein.
Thank you, Brittany. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you for being here. Here at Higher Learning Network, we love to showcase community leaders, and Shalom Klein is the chairman of the Jewish B2B Networking Organization. Can you please tell us a little bit about the organization?
Of course, Brittany. So the organization launched about 3 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. Really an idea that I had of bringing a few of my colleagues, business contacts, and folks in the community, friends and family, together for a lunch meeting at a local Skokie restaurant. I thought there would be a good opportunity for people to get to know each other. A realtor needs a photographer needs a lawyer needs an accountant. Why not bring those people together? And I thought 20 people would come, and 75 people showed up. I walked into a Starbucks the next day, and I saw 5 meetings going on from the day prior, and I knew we hit on something big. Regardless of politics, regardless of religion, the one thing everybody shares is the need to put food on the table.
Definitely.
And we formed a not-for-profit, we formed an organization, Jewish B2B Networking, really dedicated to creating the programming, the resources, and the activities to support that effort of economic development and putting people to work.
That sounds great, incredible. And what can one expect when they come to one of these networking events?
So we have several events that take place. Actually, on average, we have about 3 events that take place on a weekly basis. We have weekly employment events. Everybody who's out there in our community certainly knows somebody, has a friend or a neighbor that's been out of work, and unfortunately, that's the reality. And there's no one recipe that creates employment. There's no one thing that you can do that will find you a job. It requires a lot of things. It requires interviewing skills, resumes, cover letters, and of course, something near and dear to my heart, networking.
Right.
So we have these employment clinics. We also have a frequent educational event, which we do at our offices, and we teach people how to use Word, Excel, PowerPoint, QuickBooks, how to use the basic skills that will help you be a success, whether you're looking for a job, whether you own a small business. And finally, we also have sort of the highlight of the organization, which are the business networking events. And we have a lot of them, and we draw a lot of people, and really it's people that are coming together both because they're trying to grow their own ideas, their own opportunities, but also because they want to help each other. And that's really the highlight of the organization, bringing people together and empowering and connecting small business.
And that sounds great. And all of this is in the Chicago area. So what do you find the individuals saying to you when they actually are coming to these networking? What are their major concerns when it comes to finding a job? What troubles are they running into?
There's so many concerns. For some, it's somebody that's coming out of high school or perhaps even coming out of college with a college degree. They cannot find a job. So the younger folks are certainly having some trouble. There's also many folks that have been working at a job for many years, have been in the corporate environment, and the common term is age discrimination. The challenge is there are many people that have been working for many years, very qualified, very educated, but now they're out of work and now they're looking for any job that they could possibly find. So those are sort of the common themes that I'm hearing. What I always remind people is that it's the same thing that lands somebody a job that gets somebody business. That's the ability to connect. So come out to one of these events, come out to one of these programs that we offer, and you will meet people that will help you along. I always give the analogy of LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, the chances of a first-degree connection, being somebody that you could do business with or somebody that might be able to hire you, is very slim. When you come to these events, it's the LinkedIn, but the live version. When you come out, not necessarily will you meet somebody that will be your next employer, that will be your next business clients, but you will meet people that probably know other people. And it really starts at the events, and if you stay in touch, if you develop relationships properly, really great things can come from it.
I bet. So the growth of this business, I hear, has been just incredible. What was your initial reaction when you saw how the growth was going and how everyone was coming out? How did you feel about that?
Really, it's unbelievable to see. I've witnessed it. It's really been a grassroots effort, and that's been the most amazing and most special thing to me, is that at these events, it's not, I do this on the side. Professionally, I'm in business, but I dedicate my time. Nobody makes any money off of the organization. It's really been people coming together to help each other. So often when there's somebody that comes to one of these events and they've found some success, they will actually offer to volunteer to host one of the next meetings. And right now what I'm going through is we're getting ready for our annual event. It's called the business event. We're expecting 5,000 people.
Wow.
And the registration is being completely and totally manned by 25 volunteers, people that were touched in some way by the organization and volunteer to help out. I looked on LinkedIn the other day or on Facebook, and I see that there are 75 plus people in my network talking about that event. What that means is that it's not us promoting, it's not us advertising the event, but in reality it's people that are influenced, and they're saying, hey, you know what? I'll invite 5 or 10 of my contacts to come out as well. That's how the organization has grown. That's how it's developed, and that's how I believe it will continue to develop and grow and help and support even more people as time goes on.
And that's what I was going to ask you about now. Word of mouth is so important in an organization like this, because I heard you say you haven't done any advertising as far as I go. How important do you feel word of mouth has been to the growth of the entire business?
It's been the number one reason that we are a success. In a business owner might again be inspired or want to help, or perhaps in a very selfish way want to get some attention on their own, and they'll offer to host an event. So what has happened over time is, while I try to be at all of our events, there are events that are taking place that are grassroots, and so we have volunteers and committees of people that are offering to help and get involved and spread the word. And what that means is that on an average weekday in Chicago or in Skokie or in Evanston or wherever it might be, there might be a group of Jewish B2B networkers getting together, and they've grown on their own. So they're spreading the word. They're saying that this organization has helped me find a job. This organization has helped my business get off the ground. I picked up a client because of one of the events that took place under Jewish B2B networking, and that's how it's grown. And now, just 3 years later, having more than 20,000 people in some way affected or involved in the organization, I can assure you it's not because of me. It's not, I can only take credit for setting up the coffee or the cake at one of these events. It's really been the people that have come out and have grown the organization from scratch to what it has become today, to create an organization that can draw 5,000 people to an event. That's exciting.
It's extremely exciting. Now, tell us who exactly is allowed to come to these events, because it's not exclusively Jewish, right?
Not at all.
Everybody.
That's a common question that I get.
Right.
One of the reasons that I started the organization, I could credit my parents with this, is I was taught as a child that the highest form of charity is helping somebody earn their own livelihood. And that's something that's very important to my faith, to my community, and that's sort of the identity that drives the organization. So despite the name, it's non-denominational. Everybody's welcome to the events, whether somebody's young, old, male, female, looking for a job or owns a business. Everybody's welcome to these events. And with the programs that we've been putting on, our goal has never been to have everybody come to every single one of our events. We actually, I know you mentioned Chicago, but I've actually been running events out in Detroit, Milwaukee, and St. Louis as well.
Oh, wow.
So really it's been Midwestern, and bottom line, if there's an event that perhaps somebody might not be able to make it out to, I say no problem. You can't come and we'll miss you, but spread the word. Tell another 5 people about the event, and perhaps they can benefit from it. And that's how it's grown, and that's how it continues to grow.
Definitely. Okay. Now, I also know you mentioned about how the individuals give back as far as they come back, they donate their time. What type of testimonials are you getting from them once they have gone out there and gained their livelihood? What do they come back with?
So on the business side, I've seen firsthand like I said, the first degree and the second degree and third degree connections that have been made, thousands and thousands and thousands of them. It's almost impossible to measure those outcomes. So often I'll walk into a Starbucks and I'll see 2 people that I introduced or that met at one of our events getting together, and that's a common thing. It's actually a rare thing that I could walk into a Starbucks and not be tapped on the shoulder, and that's a good problem to have. So I'm hearing these successes from business owners that have connected with each other, that are doing business with each other, and more importantly, that are introducing others to each other as well. On the job side, it's a little bit easier to measure. I've personally met with about 1,700 people that are in transition over the past 3 years.
Wow.
And I know of 322, as of today, 322 people that are now working thanks to our efforts. That's a number that I'm both proud of as well as sort of discouraged because it means that there's a lot of other people that are not working. And if I had my way, we'd get rid of unemployment completely. But not everything is in my control. But I'm going to do whatever the heck I can to help make things happen and to help make the environment conducive for a strong small business community, for a strong employment community. And I believe that we're doing all those things by bringing people together. We will create a recipe for success.
Wow, and that is truly incredible still to have those numbers. So what type of things specifically do you guys, I don't know if you can speak about it, but do you guys plan to do to grow those numbers even larger from the 1,700 to the 322? What exactly do you guys plan to do?
Sure. So every day new ideas come up, and really people often ask me about the long-term vision and the future for the organization. I believe it will continue to evolve. I believe that as ideas come up and as the need arises, I hope to create a resource and a solution for that need. So over the past few years, we went from our initially 3 years ago, our monthly networking meeting. The monthly networking meeting turned out to be too infrequent for many of the people that were coming.
Wow.
So they asked to do it more often.
Okay.
So these days we have almost weekly events, as I mentioned. Aside for all of those events, as I mentioned, we have our big annual The Business event. And that sort of it started from scratch. I realized that so many people had come to many of our other programs, and people are coming to a January event, a February event. I said, what if we could create all of those events, all of those classes, all of those resources, all under one roof on one day? And we did it. In our first year, we had 2,500 people, and now we're on our third year, and we're expecting 5,000 people. So that The Business event was a classic example of something that we saw the need and we created it. All of these classes, these are all things that did not start with the organization, but developed over time. I've also brought groups out to Washington, D.C. and to Springfield to meet with the administration, to meet with our elected officials, to both lobby around small business issues, so to be heard, but also to listen, to hear about what changes are being made that will affect our communities. And finally, I'd say most importantly, there's nothing quite like spending a day or 2 days just as a group of 75, 100 Chicago business leaders together, away from family, away from the office, away from those distractions, and being able to get to know each other. And all of those trips, all of those missions, all of these efforts have really expanded that effort, and we've really accomplished all of those goals. So as far as what the future holds and what we hope to do, I'm all ears. I want to hear what the needs are. I'm very accessible, and I'm always looking to meet with new people, hear about ways that they can get involved, that they can help somebody else, help your neighbor, help your colleague. And if there's an event, if there's something more that we can do, I'm there.
Wow, well that sounds great, truly incredible. Well, we're going to take a short break, everyone, but we will be back soon. And thank you for joining us on the Higher Learning Network. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Higher Learning Network. I'm back with Shalom Klein, who is the chairman of the Jewish B2B Networking Organization. So we were talking a little bit about the organization. Now can you tell us more about your own personal life and how you grew up?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I grew up I was born in Vernon Hills, but have lived most of my life in Skokie. So I grew up here in Chicago, certainly know the area well, know the community well. I actually had planned on becoming a rabbi, and I went to school in Israel, Detroit, and New York. When I was in New York, ended up actually working in media and worked in public relations for a while. I've always been a news and political junkie. And after working in not-for-profit out there for about 2 years, finally got tired of New York and got tired of the not-for-profit world and decided to come back to Chicago to join our family business. So I've been here ever since. It's been about 5 years, and really many of the things that I've been working on and involved in has developed over that time. Aside for the organization that we were talking about before, Jewish B2B Networking, I've also been involved in many other community efforts, both in the worlds of economic development and jobs, but also I'm very, very proud of my work around in Skokie and in Skokie government as well.
Okay, wow. Now, what is it? I heard you say you're involved in a lot of different community organizations and things like that. What is it that inspires you to continue to do this to help other individuals? Because it is truly incredible and something we need more of, individuals like yourself trying to reach out and help other individuals in the community. What is it that inspires you to do that?
Well, as I mentioned, I credit my parents with that ideal that I was brought up with.
Mm-hmm.
I saw as a child, my father used to do a lot of credit repair and counseling and things like that, and I used to see his office or our home late at night, and he always had people over there, and that's something that I grew up with, that image, and
Mm-hmm.
I knew that. First of all, I'm a hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sleep much, and that works well based on the things that I'm involved in. And really, there's so many things that I'm passionate about, and I structure my time. I'm very careful about time management,
Mm-hmm.
monitor every second of my day. But there are many organizations that I really feel I can contribute,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily in dollars, but really in the work and in the advocacy, and as we were saying before,
Mm-hmm.
through word of mouth and really just grassroots community organizing. I believe that's how a lot of these things grow,
Mm-hmm.
and ideas develop, and everything that I'm passionate about, I try not to just keep inside, but I try to actually do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Now, as busy as you are, is there anything else that you find yourself wanting to do? Any other careers or anything else you find yourself wanting to do in life?
Well, I'm also newly married.
Oh, congratulations.
So that's definitely an exciting part of my life. My wife, Ellie, and our dog Spike. So we certainly love our community.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly, as I mentioned, I'm very passionate about putting people to work.
Mm-hmm.
Very passionate about economic development and helping small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
But I also love my own community, and I love Skokie. I actually was just appointed as chairman of Skokie's Economic Development Commission.
Wow.
So I'm very involved in that.
Okay.
I founded the Dempster Street Merchants Association. So very committed to attracting businesses and keeping our businesses in a community that I believe is great for that type of industry and commerce.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy reading. I enjoy, but really in truth, I really do enjoy working hard and doing all the things that I mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
These aren't just things that I talk about. I think I come through with that passion.
Yes.
My family makes fun of me all the time that I overuse that word passion, but there's really no other term that can be used to describe it.
Definitely. And what is it that you find yourself, I mean, how much time, literally, I don't know if you know the exact, but does it take that you devote to the Jewish, networking organization? Does it take, I know you say you run a family business as well, so how much time do you find yourself putting into the network?
Well, that's a question I get quite frequently. Unfortunately, the mathematically doesn't really add up. I tend to contribute about 12 hours to each hat that I wear. The problem is that I wear quite a few hats.
Right.
So there's not enough hours in the day. But ultimately, as I mentioned, I am very, very, very passionate, and I actually speak regularly on the subject of time management and keeping track of the hours and making sure that every minute of the day really moves a project that you're working on forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can't answer as far as the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact hours. I do dedicate a huge amount of hours in every day to the organization that I run and that I'm so passionate about, but also so many other great organizations, some other government commissions and committees that I sit on. And like I said, every minute of the day, if every day we're able to move one step closer towards helping people find jobs, towards helping the small business community, then I believe that day was a success.
Definitely, definitely. Well, getting back to the Jewish B2B networking organization, what is it that you find when you see the different cultures coming into the events and the meetings? How are they interacting with each other, I should say? And then I can imagine that sometimes, of course, there's a closeness and something you can relate with when they're Jewish individuals, but what do you find with the different cultures coming in?
Sure. So that's one of the most exciting things as an organization. People from all walks of life, from all different communities that have come out to these events. Often I might be the youngest person at one of our events.
Oh, wow.
Often I might be the only person wearing a kippah, being the only Orthodox Jew at one of our events. And we have people, I'd say demographics are probably split between men and women. We have people from all different races, colors, and really that was how I envisioned the organization, that it has a strong identity and it certainly reflects the ideals that I was brought up with. And certainly it's something that I love to draw my neighbors and my family out to. But really the goal has always been to get people from different cultures and from different walks of life to come together. And that is exciting for me when I walk into one of our events and I see people that probably would have never met. That's their reality, and they would have never met. They come together, and hopefully there's a lot of business and there's a lot of jobs that can be spoken about at some of these events. Again, people from communities that are really geographically quite distant from each other, but people are coming together and they're really helping each other out. It's not about the direct connection today, but it's about what can we do for each other? How can we, as the term is used, how can we pay it forward?
Definitely, that's great. And what is it that an individual if someone is interested in coming to one of the events, what can they expect to leave with that day? Be it, internal or as far as external, what can they expect to leave with that day?
One of the things that they certainly can expect to leave with is a pocket full of business cards, that's for sure, because of many of these events. You will meet a lot of people. I'd say that at many of these events, again, they tend to take on different themes. So whether it's education, employment, or business, they tend to have a different theme, and you will take something out of it, something else out of it. Our annual business event that I've been mentioning really combines a little bit of everything. So it combines both networking. You will meet a lot of contacts over the course of the day. We have many dozens of exhibitors that set up tables at these events, and they're handing out all their goodies, and they're spreading the word about their product, their service, whatever they're doing. And you'll meet people that are mingling and getting to know each other. But there's also a lot of workshops, and you will get information on marketing and networking, LinkedIn, resumes, cover letters, something there for everybody. And of course, at these events, we also have job clinics. So people can expect to make some great connections and hopefully get some really good information out of these events as well.
Okay, great. Now, and as far as the classes go, I know you mentioned they learn Microsoft, Excel, things like that. How is that done? Is that all done within that day, or is this something they come back for on a regular basis?
So we have a lot of different classes, and might I add that they're all taught by volunteers, by people that are giving back to the community. So we have a lot of different classes that are all listed on our website, and people can register for specific events if they want to learn how to build a free website, if they want to learn how to use Google Apps, if they want to learn how to use QuickBooks, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Those things are all classes that you can register for. But then, of course, we also have some of the larger events that includes a little bit of all of those topics as well.
Okay, great. And do you find that many of the individuals coming in, I know they go off and they get the jobs and the careers and things like that, do some of them go on to own their own businesses? I know you mentioned that you guys had business owners also in the organization. Do some of those individuals that are coming in go on to own their own businesses?
They do. Many people come in with ideas. They might be looking for a job right now. They might be looking for a job as an HR professional in human resources. And perhaps they'll decide that instead of looking for a job, why don't I start my own HR consulting firm? And I love to hear those ideas. There are many people that have some fantastic ideas, many that might not have the best ideas. And I try to also provide some advice. We also have actually a small committee. We formed it's called Arevim, which means in Hebrew means partners. And it's really people that have been successful in business, and they contribute 2 hours of their time every 2 weeks to meet with startups, to meet with ideas. And because they've been there, they've done that, they've gone through all the challenges of starting up a business, they contribute the advice, they contribute some necessary attention to a startup business owner. So we have a lot of people that are starting up their own small businesses, and perhaps they'll graduate from one of our employment events and they'll start coming to one of our business networking events. And that's really exciting for me to see some of those transformations and people that come in starting wearing one hat, and then once they leave, they're actually wearing another one, and perhaps they pick up some clients at one of these events as well. That's great.
Definitely, okay. And you being the chairman, you must have now a huge list of networking individuals in your network. You must utilize these individuals as well, correct?
I do. I mean, I meet with a lot of people every day. As I mentioned, I'm in Starbucks a lot. So I'm drinking a lot of coffee and meeting a lot of people. And I've really just been overwhelmed by the great people that I've met. I've had some great opportunities to meet with, again, people that I would have never had the opportunity to meet with in the business community. It's been a great honor to have some elected officials and some real dignitaries that have gotten involved and have shown their support for the organization people like Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, and again, meeting with folks like Governor Quinn and Treasurer Dan Rutherford. Those are things that I'm very proud of, that we've been able to grow the organization to that point, and they're involved in our events as well, and very supportive, and have come out to show that support.
And what is it like meeting with these individuals in these high, authoritative figures? What is that like for you when you're meeting them?
It's almost surreal. It's happening so regularly that we get a call from one of these elected officials, really the people that are creating the public policy that help make businesses successful. And I've gotten to know many of them. It's been an honor to serve with some of them, serve for them on some of their committees and commissions, and make a difference. And again, my goal is to utilize all of those relationships, all for the betterment of our business community.
Okay, great. Well, lastly, we have one last question for you. What's the best advice you can give to anyone out there who is considering coming to one of the networking events, or jobless and trying to find something that they can do? What advice can you give to them?
Be out there connecting people. People will connect to you. Don't make the focus of any conversation about you, your own job search, your own small business. Make it 51% or more about the person that you're meeting with. Follow up with somebody that you've met at one of our events. Get to know them over coffee and find out more about them. I could guarantee you that if you make as many of the conversations about the person that you're meeting with, they will want to reciprocate. They will want to see what can they do for you. And that's probably the best networking advice that I can give. Give. And I can guarantee you will get something out of it too. I'm
sure. Now, is there a website for the organization?
There is. People can find out more at www.jewishb2b.org. That's the number 2, jewishb2b.org.
Okay, great. Well, we thank you so much for joining us tonight, Shalom Klein. Again, I'm your host, Brittany Burt, and we thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again on the Higher Learning Network.
Hi, this is Elisheva Klein with Jewish B2B Networking. You're watching the Higher Learning Network.